Good morning, everyone, and welcome inside the Spotlight Omaha podcast, where we take you around the city of Omaha, introduce you to local business owners, influential figures, and people who are making an impact on our community. We are brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing, a locally owned marketing firm who specializes in website design, creating social media ads, and engaging your business online. If your company could benefit from any of that, check out pixelfiremarketing.com for more details today. Joining me inside the Pyramid Contractor studio is Bennett Chesterman of Chesterman Coca-Cola. Thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having me, Jimmy. Appreciate it.
Obviously, the Coke brand is one of the most recognizable symbols in the world. But when we talk about making it local and making it unique to you guys, you're a sixth generation bottler. Your family has started this company and been around for over 150 years. What does it mean to you to represent this company and have your name on the building?
You know, it means a lot. And it's something I've thought about for a long time because, you know, we started in Dyersville, Iowa. Then we moved to Manchester. We've been, across the state really. And it's sitting around the dinner table, hearing, conversations that you don't fully understand from your family. It really is means to be the fabric of the areas you distribute to and the customers you service and the consumers who, our products become a piece of their life at some point. So
sure.
It's a pretty cool feeling, and I can't really put it into words exactly because it's been such a major part of my family's life. But it's a different feeling, that's for sure. It feels pretty cool.
Is there any part of you that can even have a grasp on the reality of 152 years of doing business?
No.
I mean, I think for guys around our age, that's something that's just unfathomable.
Well, yeah, short answer, no, pretty easy one there. I am 25 years old, so that is a long time for me. But I got this book here, and obviously 152 years, we just passed the 150-year mark. So reading through this, again, it came out about a year ago, and I read it, and it takes me a bit to fully understand the people that have been such an integral part of, really major times, it started in 1872. So you think it went through Great Depression, a few wars. I mean, it was really a crazy time, a lot of it. So there's some pretty tough parts to pretty positive parts, so it's tough to fathom for me, for sure. A long-winded way of saying no.
What's the coolest part for you of that? What I mean, when we talk about being able to look back and you literally have literature on it, what's the coolest part for you?
I would say
in reading the book, what stood out to you the most?
In the book, really, a lot of the adversity that they fought through in the early years that, at this point, we don't really have. I don't want to say we don't really have to deal with, but they went through some tough times, and they had to. I mean, at one point we were selling pool tables.
Oh, okay.
Since we started in 1872, we started before Coca-Cola actually originated in 1908, or at least we started distributing in 1908, and so there were some weird times. I mean, Prohibition was a crazy one. That's really how we started. Was we started selling sarsaparilla and like Hawkeye soda and pool tables, like I said.
Sure.
And so, I mean, that really just that it's tough to fathom, but I would say that.
I wouldn't say it's that different today, though, because I mean, like when you see the Chesterman logo, it's obviously branded with Coca-Cola, as it rightfully should be. But you guys don't just bottle Coca-Cola. You bottle Coke products. You guys have Monster Energy drinks. You guys do Smart Water. There's Gold. Gold Peak Tea.
Yes.
Is it kind of hard to identify yourself as just Chesterman Coca-Cola when you guys do have this? You're not selling pool tables anymore, but there's this wide variety of things that you guys are distributing.
No, it's not. We're not. We're really not just a Coca-Cola business. We are a beverage business. It's really turned into something entirely different. Now with again, tea, water, isotonics, energy drinks, the whole gambit. We have 480 SKUs.
Wow.
Individual SKUs. So it's evolved, and I think we've added where we've needed to add because the consumer is ever changing, obviously, and it won't stop with just that. So, I guess you're right in that sense.
The energy drink portion of it is really interesting to me because it feels like it's this thing that exploded not that long ago. How much has that kind of changed the way you guys are doing business?
It's definitely changed. I think I don't quote me on this, but I believe energy has become about 15 to 20% of our
Wow.
of our total portfolio in terms of sales. So
It's something that wasn't even a thing 20 years ago.
100%.
Yeah.
And the folks that are, our brand partners at Monster like to call themselves the largest startup still standing to this day. So I mean, it's a crazy rise, and it's still changing. I mean, really, there's going to be a lot of things in the next 5 to 10 years that there's going to be a lot of graying of the lines of what consumers want in terms of a beverage. They want the health benefits. They want that value add that caffeine brings, which is what really brought around the energy category as a whole.
Yeah.
And
People are tired.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's crazy. There's been a lot of new entrants as of late that have muddied up the waters because it used to really be a 2-player race with Monster and Red Bull were the main two ones. But now you've seen, players like Celsius come into play and these other, pre-workout energy drinks that have kind of turned into that ready-to-drink brand like C4 Ghost. So that is from an outsider's perspective, it's really the most interesting category right now with the tidal wave that has brought it on. And actually, as of late, if you read nerdy beverage digest articles like I do,
your spare time.
That's my stuff. But it's actually slowed quite a bit. So I think we're going to see some changes on the horizon with that.
You brought up prohibition a minute ago, and we just talked about the wide variety of things that you guys do, bottle and can. Has the discussion about alcohol ever been something that you guys have ever done in your history, or something that you guys ever considered in the future?
Oh, that's a great question. That's probably something you'd want to ask my grandfather or dad or uncle.
I didn't know if it came up in the book.
I don't think it does, but I know there's everyone knows the regulations surrounding alcohol with
a lot of red tape.
Distribution relative to state lines. You have to have a distribution center across state lines, and we reside in a tri-state area, so that would be a very tough thing to swing. That'd probably be a better question for my dad, but I don't think it would be out of the cards if it was brought to us. But that's just
and it's business, right? Business is ever changing.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. When we talk about growth of this company, and like you said, tri-state area, obviously a longevity history of being successful. What does growth look like in 2024 for a company that has been around this long, had this much success, and this widespread?
That is a great question. I think that's still one that we wrestle with on the day-to-day when we're starting to plan for, as most companies do, we start to plan pretty early in the process. And we're thinking about growth and where does that come from? It comes from innovation that we come out with multiple times a year. We got a few new things coming out this year and pretty interesting things coming out with Coke Oreo and a new Monster SKU, a new flavor. There's all those things play into it, as well as really our, like we've talked about already, our wide range of categories. I mean, at this point, soda growth has remained flat for almost a decade and even dropped in some instances with some companies. I think the growth resides in, like I was kind of talking about, with the graying of those categories, with them not being so cylindrical in terms of energy, tea, Powerade, or isotonics and as a whole. I think it's the melding of them, and that's kind of where it's going to come from again, because SSD is kind of flattened off. But I think it'll come from that energy category, isotonics category, water, and tea mainly.
What about bottled water? Because I'm old enough to remember that when bottled water kind of hit the scene, everybody went, well, why would we pay for something that we're getting for free out of our tap? And it's still here about 20 years later.
It's a great question.
What does growth look like from that sense?
I think it's still to be seen. I think a lot of the regulations, so I'm on online quite a bit. I'm younger. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok sometimes.
Where you can find this podcast at?
Yeah, exactly. But it depends where you live. We live in a place with great tap water, but some places don't. It depends, I would say. But that premium water mainly, I would think, because people are more now than ever are really watching what they put in their body and the quality of what they're putting in their body. So our brands like Smart Water and Body Armor Sport Water are big players in that category. So where's the growth at? I think it's in terms of those people who are looking to put the highest quality products in their body at whatever cost. Really, this is the main thing.
We're catching up with Bennett Chesterman here of Chesterman Coca-Cola on the Spotlight Omaha podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing inside the Pyramid Contractor Studio. Talk to me about your partners. Obviously, you guys partner with Hy-Vee and the Omaha Henry Dorley Zoo and different. Obviously, you got to have places to place your product. What is the relationship building process in the Omaha and tri-state area been like for you guys, and how does that benefit your company?
Oh, every facet. I mean, the relationships are the business. I mean, at some point, we have the brands. Our customers have their own brands and relate to our customers, and really having those relationships, like with what you said, the Walmarts, the Hy-Vees, the Bakers, every large store and small store. I leave out the small store because I mainly reside in the large store space, but those relationships at the store level are what drive the business, bottom line. And so that's kind of what we preach to our folks all the time is if you're not having a personal conversation with the store manager on a daily basis, I mean, what are we doing? Yeah, because then that's where we win in the margins, and that's kind of with how competitive it is. That's bottom line where you win.
I want to talk about wins for a second. I've kind of noticed this makes me a little bit of a weirdo, and that's fine. But like, obviously, we have partners on our radio show, you guys being one of them. And anytime I see, whether it be the roofer we work with have a sign in a yard, or I see, I don't know, the UNO mascot grabbing a Coca-Cola out of a vending machine, I give a little bit of a fist pump, and it's a win. When you see the local schools deciding to make the change from the evil empire to the good side, going with Coca-Cola, what does that relationship look like, and how much of that is a win for you guys?
I mean, it's just so cool. So I give you an example. I mean, talk about winning locally and the relationships we're trying to build with our customers. All these obviously we've picked up the Henry Zoo and Dorley Zoo in the last couple of years, which has been an unbelievable partner.
Sure.
They've been great to work with. Obviously picking up UNO, we have for example, my boss, he is an awesome human being. He went to UNO some time ago, and his dad worked for Pepsi.
Okay.
He actually switched them a long time ago. His dad did.
Sure.
And he now runs our Omaha branch. His name's Tim Stibbs. Great guy.
Hey, he's all right.
And he is now the one who was able to get UNO back. And I mean he posted that on Facebook, and the amount of comments he got from his peers who went to school with him, it was cool to see.
People were excited.
People were very excited, and that makes me excited because it's that school specifically, obviously Creighton as well. I mean, those are two very established pillars of Omaha, right? Yeah. It means a lot to those people, and those schools obviously mean a lot to the people of Omaha. So being able just to be present within those places that have a sentimental value to the people of Omaha, that is the coolest feeling ever, walking into a place that's been Pepsi or the bad guys for.
Sure.
I don't know the exact number of years, but I think it's 60 to 70.
Do we want to talk about the 800-pound elephant in the room, or more recently, about 45 minutes down the road on the interstate that is not a Coke school, and how that becomes a thing?
Hey, again, I'm going to stay out of it.
Sure. Okay.
Again, I don't really reside in that space, but
people on Twitter are asking. That's why I'm asking.
I know. That is up to our full service team.
Sure.
Hopefully we can get everyone switched over to the bright side, to the red side. But,
Coach Rule, if you're watching, we got a connection for you if you want to make that happen.
Yes, anytime.
Talk to me about the Omaha area as a whole, because obviously the importance of establishing those relationships, not only with the schools, but with the businesses that you referred to. How big of a deal is it to be visible in the community and give back in the way that you guys do? What are some of the ways that you've given back in 2024?
It's great. This year specifically, and we did this last year too, our big thing, and actually this is coming up pretty quick in about 2.5 weeks, but we've been a part of an organization called Free Bikes for Kids. And we partnered with Hy-Vee last year. We're going to partner with Walmart this year. Last year we gave away, or we collected from the Omaha community who generously donated, and we got 1,000 bikes to kids.
That's incredible.
In various areas and charities around Omaha, specifically Boys and Girls Club, just to give an example. But last year we got 1,000. We're shooting for more this year. Again, the drop-off day for that is September 14th. We have 7 Walmart locations. We will be having snipes on our truck. So if you see a Coke truck, you'll be able to find out more information on that, as well as we'll have it on the news. We'll have some social media posts about it as well.
Probably a radio ad or two.
Yeah. We'll be hitting Jimmy up for that. So if any other outlets that Jimmy's on, he'll be shooting those out. I'll be sending him an email here soon, I'm sure. But again, that really is the coolest thing so far. I've been in Omaha I graduated in 21, so I've been here for almost 4 years now. And that has been the coolest thing that I've been a part of.
You mentioned the snipes on the trucks, and one thing I don't think we've even talked about in over 180 episodes of this podcast is the advent of QR codes and the way people are kind of doing business post the pandemic. How has QR codes in any way kind of changed the bottling industry at all? Because not only you guys bottle, obviously you got to be responsible for labels and such things like that.
I mean, that is a great question. I think there's a wide variety of answers I could give because there's a marketing perspective of it. There's also like an operational perspective of our internal business on how we use those to help our people be more efficient. But I guess on the marketing aspect of it, it's really been a major player with any of our local programs that we're running that we're trying to drive some business for our partners, whether again it's the zoo or we'll have something with UNO coming up here soon. But you're able to utilize what we have in store in our high traffic areas, whether it's in any major grocery store chain, and we'll be able to put some signage on there with the QR code, and it helps drive business for the company that we're trying to promote or the business partner that we're trying to promote. And I think that's really helped us become a better partner. I think it really helps us achieve what whoever we're partnering with they need to get done on their end, because when we partner with someone local, it helps us. I mean, bottom line, it helps us get our displays up and sell more product. But at the end of the day, we also want to be a great partner and help them achieve what they need to get done as well on their end. So that has helped us in that sense. On the operational side, we have very standardized ways of doing things, as you know. I mean,
that was a very deep breath.
With the Coke brand, I mean, everything is standardized. There's ways of operating, and we run a play, and we run a pretty strict play. And so, when you can put a QR code on whatever needs to look exactly like X in a picture,
sure,
it just helps, not having to go back and forth with someone on, hey, does this go here? Does this go here? It sounds very minute to anyone who is not in the industry or anything like that, but it is a big part of our operation, and we're even trying to look for ways to implement them more. So, because we can always get better at that. For sure.
You used a really interesting word there, and you mentioned marketing and the fact that I think anybody that thinks about Coca-Cola thinks about the polar bears in wintertime, and there's been such good marketing strategy. Broad strokes, we're talking about Coca-Cola, the overlining umbrella company. How does Chesterman use marketing to its benefit locally, and maybe how much does that differ from state to state that you guys are in?
That's a great question. So someone explained this to me in very simple terms about a year ago. What you see and hear generally, this doesn't really apply for what you see in your local stores or anything like that, but generally what you see and hear that has Coca-Cola on it is Coke North America, which is our franchisor, and then what you touch and taste is us as a bottler. So again, marketing not exactly.
Is that hard to differentiate for you guys?
Not exactly, because we can market locally. We just want to market with our partners, right? I mean, that's okay. We don't. Yeah. Generally, we as a franchisee, we take the play. We take that marketing and take advantage of it to the best of our ability, sure, along with our local brand partners. But marketing in a local sense, what we do, again, is our using our assets, giving our partners our assets to be able to put their name on and put their
it's a benefit for them. They get a partner with the Coca-Cola brand, which is already established. Yeah. Yeah, fantastic. Hey, we're catching up with Bennett Chesterman of Chesterman Coca-Cola here on the Spotlight Omaha podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing inside the Pyramid Contractor Studio. I want to talk about the benefits of working for Chesterman Coca-Cola for a minute. You guys are hiring multiple different positions across multiple different platforms, across multiple different states right now. What's the best part about working for Chesterman Coca-Cola?
I think you talk to anyone, they'll give you a different perspective, but I think we're a very tight-knit crew. I mean, total throughout our whole company, we have about 850 employees. We have about 160 residing here in Omaha. But they could walk up to anyone in the company or anyone in the building, generally, and we'll know your name.
Yeah.
We will know, what you like to do. If you're a great worker or not. Word travels fast and within our company because we're smaller than most. I would say with someone operating our size.
Sure.
And things can get
By design?
Yes, I mean I think so because again if you ask certain people they'll tell you different things, but we can get things done at a very faster rate, and we're much more flexible than I think most other organizations are our size because my dad and uncle have done such a great job of really staying present and being there for any issues that arise or any suggestions that can be made, and they're very open to that. So I think if we kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but let me think about this. We're very flexible in that we can solve issues rather quickly, and we're happy to do so in the way that's described by our people. So I think the best way to put it simply is we take feedback and we can work with feedback at a quicker rate than most.
What is your favorite part about the fact that your name is on the building? And
not a lot, actually. I don't. It's kind of weird, especially when I was younger. I started working. So I grew up in South Dakota, and I could get my license at 14, so I could work at 14.
Yeah,
and we would. And it when your last name's the same as the company, it's a bit weird.
Yeah,
because people kind of look at you funny, especially when you're that young kid walking in.
Sure.
But I think
they start calling you sir. You're 14.
No, yeah. Hopefully that doesn't happen too soon. But I know it's inevitable. But yeah, I don't. That's a good question. That's one I used to really when I was younger. I used to really dislike it.
Yeah.
Because I thought it drew too much attention, and
sure.
I wasn't a fan of it. But yeah, I've kind of gotten used to it. And
well, let's talk about the fact that you've mentioned him 4 times now. You brought up your dad a lot in this conversation. What's that relationship like from a business standpoint? And what's the best piece of advice he's ever given you?
Oh, that's a good question. Actually, it's great. He's obviously resides in Sioux City.
Is that why you moved? Just kidding.
No, no. He was very easygoing with me. I started at a very young age, and I kind of just did everything that anyone ever told me, which is great. And he was just like, "Hey, how was it?" And what was the cool thing about it is because we all kind of came up the same way, or he came up the same way as I'm coming up, I guess I will say.
Yeah.
So he could relate. Like I could come home from a route that we were delivering to gas stations and took 14 hours, and man, it was 95 degrees. It was tough. And he would know exactly what I'm talking about because he, before 2016 when we refranchised and got into Nebraska, we were a much different company. And
sure. And
he used to run truck routes for 5-10 years, and he did it all. He ran every single route in the company and delivered to every single customer we have. And so
wow.
It was pretty cool hearing that. And I would say the best piece of advice he's ever given me is just be patient with yourself, because it's a little bit, it can be frustrating.
Especially when it's on you.
Yeah, especially, and that goes back to the having your name on the building thing. Yep. It's like expectations are a little bit different, and if you're walking into a new place, you never know what someone's gonna be thinking, and you can get in your head and start thinking, a lot of negative things that people might be thinking, and you're just all of a sudden you're in your own head, and so just being patient with yourself.
When your name's on the building, you're 6th generation. You're talking about your relationship with your dad, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so if this isn't true, please correct me. But it's a little bit of imposter syndrome, something where it's like, okay, am I supposed to be here?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean,
Yeah, I think it would be impossible not to, right?
yeah, especially earlier on. It's like, you're a little insecure about it. You're like,
Because you're 14.
yeah, I'm 14, and it just, these guys don't think I'm a hard worker. Oh
Sure.
no, like these guys work so much harder than me. That whole thing for sure.
It put a bit of a chip on your shoulder.
Maybe a little bit, but I think once you kind of work side by side with the folks that are really doing what we need to do, I mean, that once you do that, I think, and show them, hey, I can do this.
hang,
Like
yeah.
I'm not just some,
I'm here for a reason. It's
spoiled
not
little
just my last
kid,
name,
which,
yeah.
I'm not saying I'm not sheltered or anything
Sure.
like that, but,
We won't ask about it.
yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. You're a nice guy, Jim.
Hey, I wanted to ask though, because you brought up a minute ago the being hot outside, and obviously it's going to be 100 plus today. 4 months from now, it's going to be negative 20.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
How does the weather affect how you guys do business?
Oh, it affects greatly. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not even just at sales, obviously, because when it's hotter, we sell more product.
Sure.
It's pretty simple, but
People are thirsty.
for our frontline folks, it affects. I mean, when it's 100 degrees out, that is not a not fun job to do. What I was just referencing on or delivering on routes. When it's minus 20 and things are slippery, I mean, it's
Probably even less fun.
it is, yeah. And I've done both, and it's safety precautions need to be taken on both. I mean, that is such a major part of what we do. I mean, the safety aspect of it is a big deal, and I think that the weather piece, safety needs to be top of mind.
Can you give us an example of what you guys do to help make sure that your employees are safe and taken care of while they're out in the elements?
Yes. So I mean, really at the end of the day, it's new assets, new trucks, new trailers that have AC, heaters, specific standardized things we do on a daily basis. Of if you're stopped in a gas station and you lower your lift gate with product on it, put a cone out so people know you're on there, you're working it, just to keep them out of harm's way, as well as obviously the gear to stay warm, to cool off, and anything like that.
We're catching up with Bennett Chesterman of Chesterman Coca-Cola here on Spotlight Omaha podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing inside the Pyramid Contractors Studio. We're kind of hitting that spot where we like to close it down for the day. Is there anything about Chesterman that we haven't mentioned that people should know about?
No, I think we hit a lot of good pieces there. Again, we haven't been around Omaha for too long. Excited to keep developing the local relationships and keep it rolling. Appreciate you, Jimmy, for having me on.
Man, this is great.
Yeah, I love what you're doing here. This is awesome.
We'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. here on the Spotlight Omaha podcast. We appreciate everybody that joined us, chimed in, and gave us their thoughts. We'll see you tomorrow back here at 11, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing inside the Pyramid Contractor Studio.